Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court Abuja has barred the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC from recognizing or participating in any congress organized by a disputed leadership of the African Democratic Congress (ADC). Hi. Welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, the European Parliament on Tuesday called on the EU to draw up a standardized definition of rape across the 27-nation bloc that explicitly includes the need for consent. The vote, supported by a majority of MEPs, was met with loud applause in the chamber in Strasbourg. 2 years ago, the EU adopted its first piece of bloc-wide legislation aimed at combating violence against women. That law criminalizes female genital mutilation, forced marriage, the non-consensual sharing of intimate images, and cyberbullying. At number 9, FIFA on Tuesday boosted overall World Cup cash distributions to nearly $900 million following concerns over the spiraling cost for teams taking part in the tournament. Football's global governing body said in a statement that money shared between the 48 teams taking part in the finals in Mexico, Canada, and the United States would now total $871 million, up from an initial figure of $727 million announced in December. The cash injection was announced following a meeting of FIFA's ruling council ahead of the body's congress taking place in Vancouver on Thursday. At number 8, the president of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has formally declared the Ondo South senatorial seat vacant. The declaration follows the recent appointment of Senator Jimoh Ibrahim as Nigeria's permanent representative to the United Nations. Making the announcement during Tuesday's plenary, the Senate president noted that the vacancy takes immediate effect. In line with constitutional provisions, Senator Akpabio further directed the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to organize a by-election to fill the vacant seats within the next 30 days. At number 7, troops of Operation Hadinkai have neutralized 18 terrorists and recovered a large cache of ammunition and weapons along the Azure Bridge in Timbuktu Axis and Bulabulin Forest in Borno State. The Media Information Officer, Northeast Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, who disclosed this in a statement on Wednesday, said 11 of the terrorists were killed in Bulabulin Forest, while 7 were neutralized in the Timbuktu Axis. He said the 2 coordinated operations were conducted by Sector 2 in close coordination with the Air Component Command of OPHK. Uba noted that the military high command commended the troops for their gallantry and resilience, while urging them to sustain the operational tempo. At number 6, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has extended the sale of direct entry application forms for the 2026 to 2027 academic session to May 8, 2026. The board said the extension from the earlier April 25th deadline was aimed at giving all eligible candidates adequate opportunity to complete their registration and participate in the admission process into tertiary institutions. According to a statement issued on Wednesday by JAMB's Public Communication Advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, their decision is part of efforts to ensure no prospective direct entry candidate is let out of the exercise. At number 5, the House of Representatives on Tuesday approved President Bola Tinubu's request to secure a $516.33 million loan from Duche Bank to finance Section 1 of the ambitious Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway project, a key infrastructure initiative under the administration's renewed hope agenda. The approval followed a consideration of the president's request by the Committee of Supply during plenary presided over by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. In a letter read on the floor of the Green Chamber, Tinubu described the Sokoto-Badagry Superhighway as a transformative national project aimed at connecting Nigeria's far northwest to its southwestern coastline through an approximately 1,000-kilometer dual carriageway stretching from Ilela in Sokoto State to Badagry in Lagos State. At number 4, Guaranteed Trust Holding Company PLC's newly released unaudited group financial results for Q1 ended March 31st, 2026 have seen its profits before tax grow by 0.88% YOY to 302.891 naira to 302.891 billion naira compared to the 300 billion naira in Q1 2025. Profit after tax, however, declined by 15.42% to 218.126 billion naira, primarily due to higher tax liabilities. During the period, Habari Pay Limited emerged as the most profitable profitable non-banking subsidiary, reporting a pre-tax profit of 3.75 billion naira, up from 1.664 billion naira in Q1 2025. At number 3, the average cost of a 5 kg cylinder of cooking gas surged in March 2026, hitting 7,655 naira, while a 12.5 kg cylinder climbed to 19,652 naira. This is according to the National Bureau of Statistics' latest liquefied petroleum gas price watch. March's cooking gas data comes amid heightened global economic uncertainty driven by geopolitical tensions. NBS data shows the average price to refill a 5 kg cylinder increased by 12.60% month on month, from 6,799 naira in February to 7,655 naira in March 2026. On a year-on-year basis, the price rose 4.55% from 7,322 naira recorded in March 2025. At number 2, the Ogun State Police Command says its operatives have rescued 5 students of Getaway Polytechnic, Sapade, who were abducted by armed criminals in the Sapade area of the state. According to a press statement by the command's public relations officer, Oluseyi Babasheyi, the incident occurred on Monday, April 27, 2026 at about 10:55 p.m. when Ipara Division received a distress report of a suspected kidnapping. According to the police, sustained operational pressure led to the successful rescue of the 5 victims from the custody of the abductors on 28 April 2026. At number 1, Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik of the Federal High Court Abuja has barred the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) from recognizing or participating in any congress organized by a disputed leadership of the African Democratic Congress. Justice Abdul-Malik also restrained former Senate President David Mark and other party figures from interfering with the functions and tenure of elected state executives. The ruling followed an originating summons filed by Norman Obinna and 6 others on behalf of ADC state chairpersons and executive committees. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.